Islam, Salam, Hola, Aloha, Osio, Bonjour. This is your brother Zach Bey, Indigenous American Moor, coming to you live and in full effect. Thank you for joining me. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell when you want to be notified when I'm dropping new content. Leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Thank you. I really do appreciate you. Today we're jumping into commercial law applied. We're going to play the game. Let's do it. I'll make this a quick one. Hopefully it's informative around this season and upcoming seasons. All right, let's see. Page 14, or chapter 14, excuse me. Page 51, the law of presumption. All right, let's get into it. A presumption is a legal reference or assumption that a fact exists based on the known or proven existence of some other fact or group of facts. Black 7, page 1203. Most presumptions are rules of evidence calling for a certain result in a given case, unless a party adversely affected overcomes it with other evidence. A presumption shifts the burden of proof or persuasion to the opposing party, who can then attempt to overcome the presumption. The IRS makes assumptions about your status which are not true. A resident of any, this word resident is very tricky. We like to use the word domicile instead of like residence. All right, I was like, a resident of any of the 50 states of the Union has ignorantly filed one or more IRS 1040 forms in the past as presumed by the IRS. In the past is presumed by the IRS to be an individual. It's very important, this word individual in legalese, who is subject to the individual income tax. Filed IRS 1040 forms allow the IRS to presume that this individual was required to file or voluntarily chose to be treated as a taxpayer who is required to file voluntarily. All right, the IRS is entitled to presume that this non-resident of the federal zone, which is the District of Columbia, and its territory possessions has volunteered or is volunteering to become a taxpayer, an individual subject to the internal revenue tax. The tax internal to the federal zone. Hope is legible. Hope you can see. The term presumption has a special meaning in law. A presumption is a logical supposition of a particular fact. The Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, defines presumptions this way at UCC Article 1, General Provisions, Part 2, Section 1-201, General Definitions. 31. Presumptions, or presumed, means that the trier of facts, which is a judge or magistrate in these kangaroo courts, must find the fact presumed until evidence is introduced to prove it untrue. UCC subsection 1-201-31. All right, so this part is important. So they make presumptions assuming that whatever that presumption is true until proven otherwise. It sounds a little funny because I'm sure most of us have heard the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, but this says the exact opposite, the presumption of guilt until proven innocent. All right, so let's continue. Black's Law 6, Definition: presumption as follows. A presumption is a rule of law by which a presumed fact exists as true until it is rebutted. A legal inference that operates in the absence of proof. All right, so we know how you rebut something with affidavit or said statement, facts. All right, there are two opposite kinds of presumptions: conclusive and rebuttable. A conclusive presumption is one for which available proof renders it so conclusive that it cannot be rebutted. To rebut a fact is to expose it as false, to disprove it. A rebuttable presumption is a one that can be disproven by significant proof. A rebuttable presumption is a lawyer's way of stating a fact that is really not a fact. We are mainly interested in rebuttable presumptions because the Code of Federal Regulations makes certain presumptions about non-resident aliens of the federal zone. All right, so I pretty much just wanted to get into that. Read this short part about presumptions. It goes into a little bit more about non-resident aliens and who is actually who volunteers to pay to be taxpayers, and pretty much who's obligated, who isn't obligated, different type of things of that nature. I will go into a little bit more detail if you would like me to, but I just really wanted to let you get this idea of law of presumptions because it entails and it includes more than just this section on the IRS and taxpayers, but in general, any kind of suit against you or against say a straw man, say a corporation that they presume is you. See, so that's where the law of presumption comes in. They assume that your straw man corporation, legal fiction, is actually the flesh and blood living human, which it is not. And we must rebut those ideas, those statements, and those assumptions with facts and with proof. All right. So I just wanted to make a short video, give you something to a little mental exercise, something to think about in this coming season. How taxes are filed, and who's going to be filing them, and how they're filed, and what your role is, and who you truly are. All right. So it was good to look into like Title 18, consumer protection, things like that. All right. Once again, this is your brother Zach Bey, Indigenous American Moor. Peace and love to all the true, noble, and divine prophets. Peace, Moors.